How are we doing, guys? All Leeds TV, and today I'm doing a slightly different focus. I'm focusing on Croatia versus England, a repeat of the World Cup semi-final, and this is a quick match preview of the game. So ultimately, this is a massive, massive test for Gareth Southgate's side, a massive test for so many reasons. First of all, we know how good Croatia are. I know that they lost the last game 6-0 against Spain, but you only have to look at that World Cup, at how good they were in that World Cup, consistently performing absolutely exceptionally. And ultimately, I felt they were unlucky not to win the World Cup itself. You know, I think based on the performances from the first minute to the last, they were absolutely exceptional throughout. But you only have to look at that Croatian midfield to know how good this team is. Luka Modric, Ivan Rakitic, two of the best midfielders in Europe playing for Croatia, and absolutely ran the show at the World Cup and against England in the semi-final especially. And then you've got people like Marcelo Brozovic, Mateo Kovacic just behind them as deep-lying playmakers. And that helps to form probably one of the best midfields in the world at the moment. Certainly internationally, I don't think there's anything better. It is a seriously world-class midfield. And then individually as well, you look at people like Šime Vrsaljko at right back, an absolutely exceptional player, and probably one of the best right backs in the world, even if I can't pronounce his name very well. He's an absolutely exceptional player and really good going forward as well. I was a bit surprised he left Atletico Madrid so early to go to Inter Milan, but he is a top player and really impressed me at the World Cup. Ivan Perisic is a really impressive player too. You know, top winger, takes on his fullback, really positive player, and always brings his best form internationally for Croatia. So it's a real test. And then you look at this Croatia team tactically, it's very similar to the Pep Guardiola system really. You know, it's a possession-based, fluid 4-3-3. The two fullbacks, Vrsaljko and Pivaric, are very attack-minded, always pushing forward. The midfield three, as I've already mentioned, is creative, attack-minded as well. You know, you've got one of Brozovic and Kovacic just behind the fantastic midfield pairing of Luka Modric and Ivan Rakitic, and that really is there to control the game in the middle of the park. It's what Croatia do so well. They control the pace of the game. You know, when they need to push forward, they speed it up. When there's 1 up, 2 up and comfortable, to slow the game down. They're so good at doing that, controlling the tempo of football matches, and that really shows the strength they have. The attacking three as well, the front three in effect, is similar to Man City to an extent, in the sense that Rebic and Perisic, either side of Mandzukic, are so good at not only creating chances for Mandzukic, but making the runs into the back post and getting goals themselves. You know, it's very similar to an extent to that Pep Guardiola Man City team, and they're just so good to watch. And you look at when we played them in the semi-final, we dominated that first 30 minutes, but they're so flexible that after that they completely controlled the game. All they did was to push the full-backs further forward, and they started to overload us out wide. You know, they have 2-on-1 all the time, because we were playing 3 at the back, we only had 2 full wing-backs either side, and we were outnumbered in the wide positions, and we had no real answer for that. And that really brings me on to Gareth Southgate. You know, Gareth Southgate's first 2 years have been an absolutely unbelievable success. You know, it's been really successful, and I think he's massively exceeded expectations. But ultimately, the one thing where I think you'd have to question Gareth Southgate is our performances against the better sides. You know, we have to find a way to be more competitive against these better sides, like Croatia, like Spain, like France, like Belgium, etc, etc. To take us to that next level, we have to find a way of competing more in those games and looking more comfortable. You know, you look at the World Cup, as good as it was, we played 3 times against top teams and lost all 3 games, and pretty comfortably we lost all 3 games. We never really, okay, for maybe 30 minutes against Croatia, we never really looked comfortable in any of those 3 games, you know, over the 90 minutes. And that's a real concern, that. You look at Gareth Southgate's overall record since taking the job against the current top 12 FIFA World Ranks teams. We've won 1, drawn 3 and lost 5. That's simply not good enough. You know, you look at a couple of weeks ago when we played Spain in the World Cup qualifier, we were on the back foot for much of that game. I know it's Spain, but it was an understrength Spain team, and we've really got to, if we want to hit the next level, we've got to find a way of competing against these teams. But that's easier said than done, of course it is. You know, ourselves, we're still in that development phase. We haven't really, you know, we've still got a lot of players to come through. You know, look at like Lewis Cook, you look at like maybe Ryan Sessegnon, loads of players still to come through. You know, even players like Reece Nelson, who's playing out on loan in Germany. There's so many players who've still got to get into this team. You know, we've still got a lot of the the old guards to an extent around who have played maybe 50, 60 caps. So we're still in transition, but I think we can compete better against these teams. And for me, the way that starts, how we do start to compete in more in these games, is changing the system slightly, dropping the 3-1-4-2 in favour of 3-4-3. The 3-1-4-2 has served us really well. You know, ultimately in the World Cup it served us well, but it did show its limitations. You know, I really like the three at the back. You know, since we changed to that, we've looked more solid defensively. I think it's getting the very best out of our centre backs. You know, bringing Kyle Walker into that back three was an absolute massive stroke from Gareth Southgate, and we've looked more comfortable ever since we've done that. But for me, it's going forward where we're restricted in this 3-1-4-2 system. You know, since we've changed to that system, if you take out the Panama 6-1 game, we've scored 14 goals in 14 games. That is simply not good enough. When you've got attacking talent such as Raheem Sterling, Harry Kane, Marcus Rashford and so many more players, you have to be scoring more goals than that. No matter what kind of quality of team you're playing, you should be scoring more goals than that. And that's something that, yeah, it just frustrates me to an extent. And I think Raheem Sterling is probably the main player in this 3-1-4-2 system who I think suffers the most. You know, you look at his form for Man City on the right wing for the last 18 months, he's been absolutely phenomenal. And I just feel we should be playing him in that position. You know, even if it means changing the system. If it gets the best out of Raheem Sterling, who in turn will then create more chances for Harry Kane, who will then in turn score more goals, or Marcus Rashford will score more goals. That's the key thing. We are not scoring enough goals at the minute in this 3-1-4-2 system. I just don't think we're getting the best out of our attacking players. And that's the concern really. But the team I'd go with, so I'll start with goalkeeper Jordan Pickford. Absolutely no doubt about it. He's been exceptional at the World Cup, and he's probably our number one for many years. And there's no one really threatening at the moment. Only really Alex McCarthy is showing good individual club form. You know, Alex McCarthy's a player we know a lot about as Leeds fans. You know, with that 7 game loan spell he had in 2011-2012, we knew then what a top keeper he is. But he's out actually for this game in particular. But what an option he could be. But Jordan Pickford for me is number one for the foreseeable. The back three, Kyle Walker, John Stones, Joe Gomez. Kyle Walker, for his pace and all-round defensive ability, is such an asset in that back three. He didn't play against Spain, and you could tell from the first minute how much we missed him. You know, that pace to defend against the counter-attack. And he's one of the best defenders in Europe for me. He's such an absolutely fantastic all-round player and brilliant on the ball as well. Does not have a weakness. John Stones, consistency-wise, he's really starting to find more consistency. That's always been his main weakness, but now he's really starting to put in 7, 8, 10 out of 10 performances every single week. You know, against Liverpool at the weekend, he was exceptional. Joe Gomez, who should also play for me on Friday night, was exceptional against Man City. You know, both had really good games in that big game at the weekend. And Joe Gomez has been exceptional this season for Liverpool. One probably, other than Van Dijk, probably the second best defender in the league this season. So he has to start for me as well. The wing backs, I go with Kieran Trippier and Ben Chilwell. So I'm going for a more fluid 3-4-3 system. You know, I think Kieran Trippier, okay, he's not the strongest defensively. He does make defensive mistakes. He sometimes is caught out of position, but his attacking abilities cannot be underestimated. You know, on set pieces, his delivery is fantastic. His attacking awareness. You know, already this season he's been involved in 3 goals in just 8 games from right back. That's such a game changer going forward for us. And he was exceptional at the World Cup as well, especially going forward. So he has to start this game. Ben Chilwell's probably our only option at left back. You know, with Luke Shaw and Danny Rose both out of this game. You know, I don't know a lot about Ben Chilwell. I've not really seen much of him. But, you know, he seems to have done well enough at Leicester. Still a young player, someone who we can bed into the system and can provide competition at left back. You know, this is his opportunity. The midfield's 2, the central midfield. This is where there's a bit of contention really about this one. For me, Jordan Henderson has to start in that more defensive role. You know, he's probably our best player in that position at the moment. You know, I know we're not blessed with quality in that position. You know, not blessed with a natural ball winner. But I think all round Jordan Henderson is probably our best, you know, most consistent option there, you know, for his passing ability. But the more box-to-box player, you know, alongside Jordan Henderson in a 3-4-3 system, for me there's 3 options. Jesse Lingard, Ross Barkley, James Maddison out of this current squad. Jesse Lingard hasn't really done anything wrong for England, but he hasn't really, at the same time, fully dictated things in the middle of the park. He's not really fully dominated games, maybe not on a consistent enough basis, and he's not really played as much as what I can see for Man United this season either. So I don't really think. I think I want to see a bit of a change in the midfield. I want to see someone else get a chance. So I've dropped Jesse Lingard for this game, and I go with James Maddison or Ross Barkley. And this isn't any, dropping Jesse Lingard. The comments might go, "Oh, it's because you're a Leeds fan." It's nothing to do with that. I thought Jesse Lingard had a superb World Cup, but I think it is time to make a slight change there. He's not maybe starting as many games for Man United. It has nothing to do with me being a Leeds fan, that, by the way, so we can stop that straight away. But James Maddison or Ross Barkley. I put a poll out just before I did this video, and 52% want to see James Maddison start the game, 22% want to see Ross Barkley start, 14% want to see both, and just 12% didn't want to see either start. But for me, I'm going to have to go against the majority here. I'm going to have to go with Ross Barkley. James Maddison has been in superb form and is a great option off the bench and for this England team at the moment. What a talent he is. But for me, Ross Barkley, just for that little bit more experience, and I think he's the most ready-made option we have in that midfield. He could be that missing link. I think we massively miss people like Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, Adam Lallana, who consistently perform well for England. But he's the player, I think, in this current squad who's made that bit of a difference in the midfield. He might change the balance of games against the better teams. He's willing to take the ball in tight areas. He's willing to dribble the ball, be that little bit more creative and get the best out of the attacking players in front of him. Take shots on goal. He does have a bit more positional discipline than he gets credit for, especially this season for Chelsea. Sarri, I think, has really worked well on Ross Barkley. I thought his performance against Southampton at the weekend, he really looked like he was starting to show his potential he did in his first couple of years at Everton, and when, of course, he was at Leeds. He's a real talent for me, and he could be the difference in this team. I think he's been really being a harsh deal by England, really. I can't really think of many poor performances for England off Ross Barkley. And I think he's been super effective at times over the last couple of, not last couple of years, but before, the last Euros, the last couple of months, years under Roy Hodgson. I thought he was one of our better players at that time. Hopefully he can start to reproduce that form once again on a more consistent basis. The front three I go with would be Raheem Sterling, Harry Kane, Marcus Rashford. Three players, three attack-minded players who can all score goals, create goals, link up play, run it players, especially Sterling and Rashford, and the main thing is all three of them playing it in their best positions. That is the main thing, and hopefully we can improve on our recent goal scoring form, which has not been good enough, and that's the reason to change things, to get more goals in this team. The strength of this team is the attacking prowess. Look at Harry Kane, consistent goal scorer. Raheem Sterling, absolutely exceptional part of Man City, one of the best teams in Europe at the moment. Defensively we're still strong, but we've got to find that balance now. We've got to find that bit more creativity in this team. And I think changing the system is the way to go forward. That's just my personal opinion. Make sure you let us know down in the comments down below if you think we should be changing the system, or if we should be sticking with the 3-1-4-2 or 3-5-2, whichever way you see the system. Should we stick with that, or should we try and change things up for this game? Another option who I've not mentioned is Jadon Sancho. A massive shout out to him. What a talent he is. 18-year-old, moved to Dortmund, 1 goal, 9 assists in 10 games already. And what an option he could be off the bench as Croatia tire. He could make his debut in this game, and he's a massive talent as well. Look at Mason Mount as well. The future really is bright for England at the moment, but we've got to find a way to find that balance so we can progress to that next level. Make sure you let us know your thoughts on the game in the comments down below. I've been Oscar Marriott. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you later. Make sure you check out our review of the game tomorrow night, when hopefully we're reporting on an England win against Croatia. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you later.